Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever the hell you're listening to us. Welcome to the new season of Drunk Discussions. And we're your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Connor.
And this is an epic one for the books. We have a hell of a talking points to go over. Many of you have probably seen it on social media, but it really hasn't got the traction that I thought it would. But we'll dive into that later. We do have something special that Connery worked up. I was just there for moral support. For our new intro. So everyone listen to that when we get to that point. But before we get there, Connor, what are you drinking on?
So a little mixture. I've got. Have you ever seen a horse squirt?
Excuse me?
So I'm drinking squirt mixed with vodka,
Oh,
but I'm drinking it. I'm drinking it out of a cup that's got a
a
keg
cow
cow
on
on
it.
it. A keg cow though, and it kind of looks like watered down
Yeah,
horse. Or yeah. Anyways,
yeah. It looks
pretty
like you're
good.
drinking semen. I am switching it up. So 70, what, this is 75, right?
Episode 75.
On every episode for 74 episodes, I have drink bourbon. I am a
I ha-
bourbon man.
I have
I have
drink.
dranketh the bourbon well. But today I am drinking beer, and not any beer. Bush Light Peach, the
Is
new
it good?
drink of the summer. Oh, it's absolutely dangerous.
I've had the Bush Apple before, and that's pretty good.
Better. Better than the Bush Apple.
You
Way
gonna
better.
buy a few cases once it's out?
I already have 3 cases in the garage.
You're gonna need more.
I know. I
Oh, I can
know.
try it when I'm up there with you.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
absolutely.
Next episode, we're going to be doing this. Oh,
Live.
it's not going to be. Is it
Is it
going to be
next
live?
week you're going to be here, or is it the week after?
No, it's next week.
Ooh, we're going to
I
be
don't
doing
know.
this shit.
I don't know if we'll do it live. I mean, we
I
might
don't
be
know.
able to.
We'll figure it out. Worst case scenario, we'll figure it out. We can maybe
Uh,
even get Logan on it. We'll just have to wheel him in there.
fuck yeah. The listeners don't know anything about that. Well, wait. We'll let him talk about it whenever he comes back on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, no, this peach is fantastic. If you haven't tried it, do. If it's not in your area, well, I'm sorry. I hope it does come to your area because this is freaking orgasmic.
We don't have it down here.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. You'll get it eventually.
No.
You got Florida always seems to get shit because you guys got the Mountain Dew hard seltzers before we did.
Yeah, those are pretty good. Those are
Mm-hmm.
really good. And then we also had the monster ones.
Yeah, you got all of that before us. I think we get Bush because it's Anheuser and we have Anheuser plants, so it is what it is. But with that being said, let's roll this awesome intro.
1, 2, 3.
I'm a type 2 civilization hipster.
Jesus is watching you, you're gonna all burn in hell. That's why Antarctica's off limits. It's just a bunch of penguins fucking each other, and it causes a chain reaction. People lose their fucking minds.
Trust me, man, I've seen some shit.
Nice to be in orbit.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine.
You should probably go get that checked and shove a finger in your bum. You're laughing, but it's already in there. We are back. Yeah, so that was the new intro. It is essentially just out of context clips from episode 74.
Which we did live. So if you guys do tune into us when we're doing live stuff, it's random things. You would have got a little snippet and precursor to us and the drop of the new intro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Last night we did make it live. I forgot about that. I was a few beers deep.
A few.
12.
It was hilarious, guys. We were just picking random stuff out of context. And the way, obviously, you can hear anything. If you would have listened to the episode, none of those things made sense. But if you listened to them in context, they still kind of made sense.
What's terrifying though about it is like now that I've realized how easy it is to take shit out of context, I said something about genocide in one of the or like I clicked on it and I was like, oh, we could use that, but out of context in an intro, it's a little
It's a little rough.
But you could easily piece stuff together because like the put a finger in your bums from like 20 minutes in and then the ending bit is, oh, it's already in there, was something completely different. It made sense.
It worked. It worked great. I loved it. And the whole there's a lot of penguin talk on the last episode apparently.
Yeah, we did talk a lot about penguins, but we haven't recorded in 2 weeks, so we figured we'd take a break, call it season 3, and then
I mean,
we've been
while we're
hurting.
talking about penguins, I think we might as well kind of just jump into what has been just absolutely going around all week. Again, not as much as I really thought it would be. I really thought that all social media would have absolutely grabbed this stuff and ran with it. But there's other stuff going on in the world, the fires in Canada and so much. Heart goes out to them. But like, this is something that is just unprecedented into this, in now in today's society, where I'm just like, even when I was watching this stuff, I was like, what? They're pretty much
Penguins,
coming out. Not the penguins. I just
don't
brought
live
up
in the
penguins.
South Pole though.
Are you fucking? They live in the South Pole. They don't live in the North Pole.
National Geographic says otherwise.
No, the penguins live down there, man. I hate to tell you this. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
I hate to have to add a bleep in the fucking first 7 minutes of the podcast.
I can't help it. Hey, these bushes be hitting different. No,
Did
no.
you drink?
Listen.
Did you drink on the course?
Yeah, all that they're gone.
Okay.
No, listen. Emperor penguins are in Antarctica. That's like that. You never seen Walking with Penguins? Like Morgan Freeman talking about penguins. He's Googling it. He doesn't believe me. They don't live in the North Pole, Mike.
Seriously,
North
National
Pole.
Geographic. Penguins don't live at the South Pole, and more polar myths debunked.
Well, not exact south, but they live on Antarctica. Yes, they do.
I don't know. It's
Yes.
fake news.
I've watched too many documentaries. I promise you, there's penguins down there, bub. Regardless, we're getting off topic already, and it's only been 5 minutes.
That's okay.
So,
Sorry.
so there was a conference held on June 12th of this year. NASA and many other doctors and leading people in their field came out and talked about not only the government spending on specific pieces of equipment that we're doing down there that are top secret, but also on top of that UAPs or UFOs. We're getting into extraterrestrial. This is gonna be like pretty much a whole conspiracy now. And the neutrino detection system that was created back in 2010 and activated in 2011. And we still use it, and obviously the idea is that we're able to use it for a large range frequency. We can, track not just our stuff, but other people's pieces of mechanical equipment. But now we're finding out it tracks much faster things, including UAPs, and it's now credited to the reason of why we were able to spot, locate, and shoot down earlier this year those UAP or extraterrestrial crafts. So it was 4 hours long, first of all. So there's a lot to unpack into it.
Have you seen the TikTok videos of they're calling it the Tic Tac
Yeah, the
UAPs?
Tic Tac. Yeah, we
So the
talked
Tic
about it.
Tacs essentially move at the speed of light real quick, just all across the sky in like a Tic Tac pattern. So that's why they're calling it that. And since they do move at the speed of light, we are starting to detect them now because of the neutrinos. So it's called the Ice Cube Neutrino Detector. It was supposed to be a passive observational device, but it does have the capability of also transmitting energy, which is they're like it was sort of like how they discovered the microwave, right? Some guy
Right.
was like,
Kind of by accident.
yeah, the wife wanted a new vibrator. Instead, it ended up cooking eggs, and they're like, oh, this is the wrong type of egg to cook. So yeah, the Ice Cube Neutrino Detector was built to detect neutrinos. They're subatomic particles that can pass through normal matter, though unimpeded. The detector, though, was supposed to observe the interaction of neutrinos with the ice molecules and record the direction of which the neutrinos came. However, because it can also transmit energy, it's essentially a powerful phased array system. It could have significant implications, potentially even as a weapon system.
Yes.
He believes that the detector has been involved in causing the Christchurch earthquake in New Zealand.
Oh, there's no Eric Hector or Hecker. I'm killing
Yeah,
that.
Hecker.
He was one of the men that were down there from 2010 to 2012, and he was part of chief manage. He was hired through Raytheon, and I killed that Raytheon as a secondary contractor, and they're in charge of not just security and everything else, but also working on the machines and general maintenance stuff. So he had access to the whole array and the whole facility down there. And in 2012, while down there, they first turned it on. It simultaneously, as they turned it on, the earthquakes in New Zealand happened. And not just that, I guess there's more than one incidents where they turned it on and off, and then another earthquake or fault line was then activated or they hit an ouchie right there, I guess. But the one that blew my mind away with it is the first thing is when Eric comes on, um, he literally talks about how he has all documentations and info has been sent, scanned, and reported to not just the to the Senate and Arrow, but to generals of like the general, masses of Congress. So like every single one of our congressmen and women have this list of information from Eric going over, not just the neutrino device, but other devices, including a laser that shoots into space. But he goes over talking about how Eric met with multiple doctors and scientists that were explaining that these neutrino device is now not. It's past its original capability. It was made for something, but we found out it can do another, and now we've even found out that it can not only detect neutrinos in our atmosphere and in our area, but also light years away. So these neutrinos can go into Trek systems at the speed of light, which is that's groundbreaking. And that happened in 2012 and to now. So we've been using it more and more. So we're constantly sitting here going, we've had multiple podcasts where we're like, why are there more UAPs or alien interactions? This can be why. We've technically found a form of communication at light speed. That's why we would have more and more contacts with potential extraterrestrials. Quotations there. And I think that's just crazy. This is groundbreaking, Connery. You're not excited? I'm excited. I just want to be taken into space. I'm trying to be like Guardians of the Galaxy and just be Thor, okay?
Is he riding his hammer? You have an interesting relationship with it. Dude, the Father's Day gift Lauren got me. Fucking,
You're
love
welcome.
it so much.
Dude, she ran it by me. It was tits.
She ran it by a bunch of people. She was like, should I get this for Connor? Yeah, Lauren got me a Father's Day gift that it is on the back of the shirt, and it's one of those like, I don't know, the concept of it, everything about it, fucking love it.
Captain America's ass is way too big.
It's like the size of my ass though, so it makes sense.
That's America's ass right there.
So it says like almost like America. I can't remember what it says. Captain America, Dad, or something like that, and it's Captain America holding
baby Thor.
A baby Thor. He said, well, holding the hand of his daughter Thor, right? It's super cute. Fucking love it. But anyways, so back to neutrinos. For people that don't know, this is as close to layman's terms as I could get, and it's still over my head. A neutrino is a fermion that interacts only with weak interaction and gravity. The neutrino is named so because of it is electrically neutral, and because its rest mass is so small, it was long thought to be zero. The rest mass of a neutrino is much smaller than that of any other known elementary particles, excluding massless particles. So essentially, it's able to move through anything, gravity, not being impacted by it. So it's super
and that's
light.
why we're kind of able to detect these crafts, because now we're believing that they're using neutrinos in a sense to make this new form of propulsion. And we've already been doing reverse engineering on crafts that we've already had. Our government has talked about it and come forth. So I mean, we're I feel like we're much closer than we're led on to believe to cracking, this form of propulsion system. And if we do, like, I guess they were talking in this this 4-hour conference, and what's the doctor's name? I had a brain fart. The guy that's up front, Doctor.
Help me, Dr. Stephen Greer. Help me.
Yeah, Dr. Stephen Greer, and he's had some conflicts in the past, people believing him and not believing him. But at the end of the day, he said the same thing. He had a lot of questions, like, have any of these races or UAPs that we've ever came in contact with, have they ever come off as a threat? And he said the same thing. He listed the number. It's a absorbent number. Not one has ever come off as militant or any kind of a threat to us. So he then quoted like Warner von Braun, saying that if we take a military stance with something that is neutral, it then forms, it goes into forming a new problem. Short layman's terms, like Connery said. So like, if we keep poking the bear and shooting at these or shooting them down and being militaristic, we're probably just creating a problem of our own, where they're not wanting to potentially share technology with us, opening our eyes to the more than just our world. I mean, I feel like we need to take a step back and realize they have the technology to screw us, and they haven't done it. So why are we shooting them down? Why are we taking this military route to it?
Well, I feel like the government's always acted on the shoot first, ask questions later mentality.
No.
Yeah. JFK, for example.
Oh no! Too,
Too soon.
too soon.
So he's also talking about symptoms that the people that are working down there are experiencing. One of them is a mass psychogenic illness. So he's saying it kind of experiences the same similarities that happened in Havana, Cuba in 2016. In 2017, more people, including U.S. intelligence and military personnel and their families, reported symptoms such as ringing in the ears, cognitive dysfunction, not erectile dysfunction though. Everyone was still happy. And what? Hold up. But yeah, he's saying that some of the issues that people are experiencing down there. This is Eric Eckert, right?
Yes.
Who worked down there as a security guard. He mentioned symptoms similar to the Havana syndrome, including memory issues, trouble sleeping, sudden temperature rises, and he thinks it's all related to the exposure to the directed energy weapons. But both Greer and Hecker, though, in the video stated the concern. One of them is, these are technologies that are being developed and used without public knowledge, consent, anything like that, and the implications that it has and what it's able to do to the world when they are using it. I mean,
Right. I mean, if it's causing earthquakes, it could cause tsunamis and so many natural disasters. Not on top. I wish they would have gotten more to this laser that they were talking about, like a massive green laser that shoots into space for communications as well. And I feel like, where does all our tax money went for something to study us, the Earth, and take ice samples and neutrinos in these ice samples, and we thought it was for science, and they were backed by so many universities and the government, and then all of a sudden the universities were pushed out, the government put more in, and not one of us were like, what are we spending billions of dollars on in Antarctica? Like, I'm not mad about it now, because like, if we are able to break this technology loop and maybe, again, quotes, they come down and they're like, hey, we have an actual first contact or something, that'd be awesome. A lot of people think the way I do. They think that would be great and life changing.
have you seen the movie Cell? It's a Steven Filbert.
Yeah, I don't
Spielberg
know that guy.
film. Yeah. So essentially, like the moment you put the cell phone up to your ear, it transmits something into your head and then causes you to be an aggressive hive mind crazy
So is it
thing.
kind of like, have you ever seen The Kingsman?
Yeah. No, exactly like that.
Okay, so like that. So
Steven Spielberg.
So where are you getting at with this? I'm confused now.
So I was watching that video on my way to work, and I'm like, man, I would imagine, right? They're using frequencies to either self-resonate with the brain patterns, and that's what's causing it, right? So I researched if that was possible. I'm not saying I would do it, right? I wouldn't say I'd mess with somebody's brainwaves on purpose to make them to become a psychopath. But I was wondering if it could be done. So the ELF system, though, the ELF system itself stands for extra low frequency. They're radio waves with frequencies from 3 to 30 hertz. Basically, in the same spectrum your mind's also working, right? You have, I had the list 2 weeks ago when I watched the movie, and I was learning about all the different waves that you've heard of delta patterns, right?
Correct.
Delta wavelength, things like that.
Yeah.
Well, those are like around the 7 to 10 hertz range. I could be off, but there's also different areas that your brain's thinking about. Anyways, so it can operate from 3 to 30 hertz and corresponding wavelengths from 100,000 to 10,000 kilometers. So you could essentially, and that it would explain the mass psychogenic illness that people are experiencing, is you are essentially resonating yourself to harmonies, frequencies that your brain operates with, and it does it up to 10,000 kilometers, which essentially you're doing what, at 3/4 of the 3/4 of the world when you start it.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Also chaotic. I'm not shaving my eyebrows.
I got a postcard from Kenya saying that Paul wouldn't shave his eyebrow off on stream. Why?
You're right. I won't.
Why?
because I needed my eyebrows. If not, I would just look like I have cancer.
Yeah, but you keep the beard.
And the head hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. No, I'm not doing it.
Well, anyways, so ELF systems are used for global submarine communications and measuring the Earth's magnetic sphere. However, Eric Heckler suggests that it could be more nefarious use for the technology. So one of the talking points that I have written down, what if the ELF systems could be used to control minds or influence behavior? And that kind of was based off of that movie Cell. I was like, well, you could do this. So what would be the societal and ethical implications of this?
Oof, there's so many. I mean, would our government stop at that? No, they've gone way past those ethical implications before on worse things. But I mean, it's scary because now most people. I think there was a census when we did the last census on like U.S. population that like believes in their government or trusts their government. It was like at a whopping like 28. It wasn't high. Like majority of Americans don't trust our government anymore, and especially this just doesn't help. Like billions of dollars put into an offshore fucking facility on international land where we don't see it, we don't benefit from it, nothing happens. But the problem with that is like, what are they going to be controlling us for, right? What are those ethical implications? Are they going to do it for brainwashing to follow a political party, or take a side for a war, or so on? And that was kind of what he was getting on with Warner von Braun, is like he warned us about you making this alien threat to unite a like one world war. That's
Well, I was
like his
thinking,
original like thing was like to stop us. Like we don't have to fight them.
I was thinking the New World Order in the sense of the implications that could
Same.
be played. Because think about it like this: if you're able to control, I wouldn't say like control, but influence behavior, you could probably increase the rate of suicidal deaths.
So again, it kind of those two go in together. Imagine creating a mass hysteria over a threat that doesn't really exist to create a then one world order. That's literally what he was warning about. Like we've had multiple movies talking. What's the first thing we do when we have alien contact? It's like, let's fucking nuke them. Like no, just because they're here doesn't mean they're here to invade. Are there probably some out there? Who knows? But from what we can tell on the ones that are here and the things that we don't know, that they've not attacked us. They're pretty much just studying us. And if we actually get contact by those or these beings that are, potentially part of what the Israeli Prime Minister said as Galactic Federation, I mean, I would say let's go with those guys, because if there's a Galactic Federation, that means there's probably like Galactic Empire, and Star Wars is real, and Lucas was right.
So, and it gets even crazier. In the closer to the end of the video, Hecker suspects that there, is more nefarious ways to use this weapon. One of them, though, is voice to skull technology.
What?
Voice to skull, V2K is what it stands for. Essentially, what we've just been talking about. So
Y2K?
V2K.
V2K. Okay.
Yes. Not the year 2000. But it kind of begs a question, right? This essentially just came out within the last week,
They're
right?
talking about it today. Wasn't there something today they released about it as well?
An hour ago, there was a live stream from them. Yeah. So it is crazy how fast this is all happening. But we talked 3 weeks ago about the satellite phones. We talked about all this stuff that's happening that are kind of putting you on edge. You're like,
We've talked about not just Russia or Ukraine, but the U.S. shooting down multiple UAPs during this whole conflict. So, I mean, they're here. I mean, the thing that's crazy is in that conversation, they also talked about the amount of times a UAP or these, extraterrestrial life, what we call them, have been around anytime we've dealt with any business involving nuclear capabilities. They're always like there, either to interfere or to watch. So I mean, we're on a cusp technologically where if we're doing these reverse engineerings and we actually crack this code because they left them here or were shot down or vice versa, they're kind of like they're just seeing how we're going to react. And I don't think we need to react like with a militant mind. We don't need to start war with an extraterrestrial life or even worse, civilization, because they have better technology than us. Like, what's the point? Like, really, they can go the speed of light. Like, we're not we're not beating that. Like we might have the communications now, but we don't have the technology to have any vehicle in our realm right now to reach that speed.
Yeah, not yet. That's of public knowledge. But even if there was, say there is a release, which I'm sure there's been release from whistleblowers, since they were talking what 700, what was it, 742 different whistleblowers is what he's involved with.
Yes, there's a lot in this. I mean, they went. I think during the conference they only brought up 15 of them, but the list goes on. And obviously, these 15 are the ones that had more, substantial data to show or share, and that they had to then obviously do a audio recording and a written recording to release not just to Congress but to Arrow and to the Senate. So I mean,
Okay,
our whole
so
government knows about this.
yeah, I found so 752 whistleblowers. So Stephen Greer is the founder of the Disclosure Project, right? He held a National Press Club event on June 12th of 2023. So this happened as of recording 5 days ago.
Right.
So 752 whistleblowers over the years have handed evidence over to the United States government. Dr. Greer highlighted the presence of man-made unidentified aerial phenomena. So as soon as he did that, NASA then released that video that we
Right.
were also talking about.
Like the next day.
They're like, oh, well, shit came through. Yeah, we should probably talk about it. And they came out and they held their first public meeting on UFO study. NASA acknowledged the online abuse towards panelists and emphasized the need for respect and openness during the process. They're like, look, we're coming at this with a scientific approach. Be respectful. We're going to ask hypothetical questions because there's other experts in the field that may be able to answer it. They talked about the current data collection efforts on unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, and unsystematic and fragmented across various agencies data that's come in. So you had, satellites, you had satellite footage, you had.
But isn't it just funny and ironic that as soon as us as the public finds out something or we have a whistleblower, our government has to do something to cover their ass, whether it be an AI taking over a plane in simulation and shooting ourselves down, or go back further with Roswell. You pick out a date and it's like the government decides, oh well, they know too much, let's try to lead them in a different direction. I feel like this NASA thing was the same thing. Like,
Well,
okay, we're going to
it would make
declassify
sense.
some info that you can have now.
It would make sense though. So they declassified some information for NASA, and NASA is a public knowledge company, right?
Not anymore. That is a government-funded entity now.
When the fuck that changed? Because I remember
When
that
they bought
everything-
them out because they fucking folded.
Oh yeah. Anyways, what were we talking about? NASA.
NASA.
One thing that you and I haven't done in a while, Paul, is
Take a drink.
take a drink. But I'm gonna,
Top off. You gotta re-top off your squirt.
no. This is a glass bottle. Though.
Oh, you're just shooting it? You're gonna shoot a shot?
No, I'm not shooting a shot. I'm just making this consistency a little bit more watery down.
Oh, so you can actually not slur during this podcast.
I'm definitely going to now. Whew. Anyways, cheers. Salud.
Cheers.
Close.
This beer is amazing. Oh,
I'm gonna try some when I'm up there.
I just want to sit on a kayak or in my pool and just drink this. That's all I want to do.
Oh, what do you want to do after we're done recording? Because I think I may just crash at your place.
That works. We'll figure it out. I think we might have a special guest on for that one. Hopefully.
Hopefully you have some lights.
That too. I'll probably reset up downstairs over there for this. I'll move the PC and everything. Who knows?
You know what we could do? Paul? You could take your signs off the wall, have them sit in that corner, and then just turn off the lights, and then immediately just have
him smile.
Have him smile.
You're gonna laugh when you guys meet him.
Oh, I love
back
Marshall.
to NASA.
Oh yeah, NASA. You burping?
Regardless, every time something happens, they have to wipe their trails. And we're constantly, obviously, Trump wasn't the first, but multiple presidents declassify certain information when it comes to UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call it. Hillary Clinton did, even when she was the Secretary of Defense. Trump did when he was in office. Obama did. So many presidents, when they get up, they're like, okay, I can't give you all the info, but I'm going to declassify some of them that are considered outdated. And as we're getting to this point, more and more things we're going over, like, well, we did have these aircrafts. They were shot down. There were what we decide as humanoid beings in this aircraft. Like some of these readings from the Pentagon and from the Department of Defense, it's like you guys lied to us for so long. No shit, majority of us don't want to believe you. Like 28%, man. 28% of Americans believe in their government. That's a record low.
What's sad is a quarter of the population of America believes their government. That's the sad part about
You're
it.
right. That's the takeaway right now.
Yeah,
You
the takeaway is
dumbasses.
you fucking idiots. Actually, so I haven't brought up TikTok in a minute, right? So I was live on TikTok every single night. Lauren and I would go live, and we were talking about something similar to that as a group of Americans that are stupid, and I got banned for a week.
For hate speech against Americans, and you are one.
On 20 I was talking about a quarter of Americans believe their government. I was like, those guys are idiots. I was like, why the hell do they believe their government? They think the government's in their best interest. You and I have friends, you know what I'm talking about. No,
Yeah.
that believe the government. Everything the government says is
yeah,
true.
I know it's absurd, but you know, they're gonna learn. If everyone's gonna learn the truth eventually, right? Eventually, we're gonna hit a point where we can't hide this, and that's what they talked about in this conference. Also, is like, is there gonna be a point without government intervention that you think that, you know, they'll intervene, whether it be planetary, like we're destroying our planet, or us as a military mind would go after them? And he even Dr. Greer said, like, I can't see why not. Like, I can't see them just standing by the wayside and letting us just absolutely destroy a habitant planet, especially when we're in this, you know, realm of technology and we've come so far in such a short period of time and we're right on the cusp. I don't see them doing that either. I mean, we have thought outside of the box so many times with just shows trying to help us guide our way and our decisions. And I think that we can kind of learn from it. The idea to, like, with First Contact is going to be an important step in humanity.
I think I know why. Hypothetically, NASA's doing this. So NASA, they acknowledge the public interest in UAPs. They know that there's a demand for answers, and they're trying to reduce the stigma around UAP reporting and foster trust between the American people, or the world essentially, and NASA, right? So do you think they're going to slowly continue to do this, where they introduce more findings, more information?
Yeah. I mean,
and
we
then-
have with the Pentagon releasing stuff from our war times, not just during like recent wars, but like all the way back to World War One. So one of the crazy ones I was reading from the early documents released from the Pentagon during World War One and World War Two is when we were first, like, World War One, we had, you know, biplanes, we were still in the sky. There was multiple reports even into World War One where they would come down and say, like, there is something I can't explain. World War Two, even worse, not just the U.S., but the Nazis had a bunker in Poland, right? And their whole idea of this bunker was like our Area 51. It was top secret. They were working on new propulsion systems to do vertical takeoffs, eliminate landing strips, all that fun stuff. And they had an absurd amount of sightings over this area that they couldn't shoot down, control, contact anything with these UAPs during this time. And we didn't know about it until after we ransacked that entire base, gathered their information, and we held on to it. And they waited so many years until recently to release, like, oh, yeah, also the Nazis saw a bunch of aliens too. Like, I feel like this is shit we could have released a while ago.
Then again, it was around the same time they were experimenting with LSD.
Well, no. So you have to think, that's after we already got all those German scientists and we're like, come to us. We won't give you war crimes.
This is also before Roswell, right? That was
So no.
1973 was Roswell.
I thought it was 53.
That was 73.
Dates are wrong. Who knows? But no, I thought it was either post World War II or just out or beginning Cold War was Roswell. I want to say it was in the 50s. But there's also so many sites. Am I right?
No, we're both wrong. 1947.
So, okay, post World War II. Okay, so I mean, 2 years after. But still, we then brought like Oppenheimer and so many of these chief scientists from the Nazi, you know, regime over here. I'm scared. I don't even.
Why I was thinking 1973.
Why?
Lilo and Stitch. The black guy at the end when she looks at him, the alien looks at him, and she's like, you look familiar, and he's like, Roswell, 1973. That's why I was thinking it. I'm a fucking
Oh.
idiot.
You're part of the 28%. That's hilarious.
Fuck me sideways. All right.
Next
NASA.
point, though. We're past. Let's go to the next talking point.
What is the next one?
You have so many that you had the great AI design for us.
I do, but there's just so much here because you got to think both videos were like 4 hours a piece. This is 8 hours of footage
Eeny,
that
meeny,
I had
miny,
to
moe.
run through.
Throw a dart. Throw a dot.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let's talk about something else real quick while I go ahead and I throw a dart.
Okay, I'll just pull something out of my ass real quickly. I guess I was talking about that mountain. So I was watching this documentary on it, right? And it was kind of sad because obviously they used slave labor during World War II to build this mountain, and literally build it and hollow out tunnels for large scale operations. They estimated like 55,000 people or captives died under the Nazi regime to build this quote unquote like Area 51 for them. And it's massive. It's huge. And they had multiple testing facilities within inside this mountain, interior and exterior along. And one of the things they were working on was called the Bell. Have you ever seen the Bell? It's a Bell aircraft. They literally got their idea of the Bell aircraft from UAPs. Like, it's a typical flying saucer, my boy. Like, if you think flying saucer in your head, that is the Bell, the Nazi Bell. And then the worst part is they quote unquote, this was right before the war ended, had a massive breakthrough. And that was right around 1944 or 1945, what as they were starting to lose the war. And a bunch of the scientists literally gathered their information and just hit the deck. They either went to the Soviets or they went to the US. And it's creepy because it looks like your typical, like, if you've seen a UFO in a movie, that's what the Bell aircraft looks like. But these scientists said they had a massive breakthrough. And if these specific ones went to the US and they brought all their findings, that was in the 40s. Like, we've had plenty of time to work on this propulsion system. Maybe, and that's what they talked about in as well, is there a chance that the US government is potentially part of these UAP sightings? Like, have we cracked this propulsion system, and how do we have craft of our own? Like, we've not seen anything like the tic tac that we're talking about until recent time, right? It's always been spherical or disc shaped. But now we have a tac. So a lot of people are thinking, like, is the tic tac us with reverse engineering, and this is our aircraft? This is us doing it now.
Just fucking around and seeing if this stuff works.
And obviously it fucking does.
Do you think it's unmanned?
No, I don't think it. I mean, there's a possibility, but again, with that kind of propulsion system, unless we have also a crazy technology for unmanned personnel that surpasses our drone technology, I think that's probably people in it, top scientists or officials or whatever, the U.S. government, that are actually flying it. If not, then maybe it is drone piloted. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it would be drone piloted because you got to think the neutrino technology is meant to be able to send communications, right?
Right.
So you would technically be able to send communications at the speed of light to give it direction. So what if the glitching across the sky effect is more or less us just
sending communications on its trajectory?
Yeah, and it just is like, okay, but maybe it's messing up. And
so here's my next question is, why is it that a lot of the times we see these tacks going in and out of the water then? So I was thinking about this. Listen, if we're going into the water to escape and it has, let's take a drink.
Yeah, let's have a
Cheers.
shot. Some goner. The name of the podcast implies there would be drinking. Yeah, we're drinking. Just
we're hammered.
Not publicly announcing.
It's called drunk discussions. We're drunk and having discussions, guy.
Yeah, this is all over the fucking wall.
We go back to Antarctica thing. What if they're just going into the water to escape and then they're just zooming through the water back to their base in Antarctica?
Well, I mean, it's at that point, it's not really, because you're talking about a device that's able to transmit its body through things, right?
No,
through
the idea
through
is
matter.
it's making a field around it that can do that. So it's using a propulsion system to travel in almost like outside of our laws of physics. We're going through our atmosphere at a different speed, including our water too, which is a different type of atmosphere. So if it can go through one, it can obviously potentially go through another, because we've seen them with Captain Durker going on, I don't forget the ship, where he said that the craft entered in and out of the water at absurd speed. So like that makes sense then, like, hey, it's probably not even man crafted. It's probably just us sending signals to it. It's a drone.
So I went ahead and utilized artificial intelligence because they were also talking about AI. So I was like, it's only appropriate, right?
Yeah, it's only fair.
So let's talk about. I've got 10 talking points. We'll go through them. I'll just list off the 10. You pick one off the 10. You ready?
Okay.
Alien communication, weaponized neutrinos, AI and UAPs, ELF mind control, man-made earthquakes, public disclosure, Space Force encounter, and Havana syndrome epidemic. That's not 10, that's 8. I miscounted.
Math. What was the second to last one?
Space Force encounter.
Ooh. Has there been Space Force encounters? Is Space Force even in space yet, though?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Don't fucking lie to me.
What if we are?
I mean, maybe, but like,
would they tell you?
We just made. You're not wrong. They wouldn't tell you.
Think about it like this. Think about it like this. You and I both know people that have told us shit they're not supposed to tell us, and they're in the military. They're like, oh no, we have a base here, right? We've heard this conversation.
Yeah.
We know.
And I was in the military. I feel it. I served. I had friends that worked in, considered classified or top secret, MOS. And obviously we've had some that we don't know, but people have gone on with those classified MOSs and released data onto fucking Discord and shit. So I mean, yeah, I get it.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So Dr. Greer discusses the role of the US's Space Force in communicating with extraterrestrial civilizations. What if the Space Force had a direct encounter with an extraterrestrial civilization? How would this impact our understanding of the universe and our strategies for space exploration? So
I mean,
this is communication side.
Right. What if like, have you ever seen this show Space Force?
Yeah, it's got the guy
Steve
from The
Carell.
Office. Steve Carell, yeah.
What if he's actually in charge of Space Force? Wouldn't that fucking kill you? Because like he talked about like head actors being involved with the U.S. government. So I mean, what if you get there and you see Steve Carell, like Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise all standing on a fucking like on the sideline, fully decked out in uniforms?
Leonardo DiCaprio with an 18-year-old alien. He's like, I don't. They look a little bit younger than an actual 18-year-old, man. Fuck.
But I'm just saying, like, who knows?
Do you think aliens have sex?
Absolutely.
Do you think?
I think it's different. It's probably not the same as ours.
Hear me out. We're going tangent.
This is Rick and Morty kind of shit. We're gonna just like talk about fucking aliens now.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about fucking aliens. So okay.
There's some Guardians of the Galaxy bullshit right here.
Parit, is that you? Or Barit, whatever her name was. What was I saying? Oh yeah, fucking aliens. So hear me out. You put a human in. You put a guy. You put a guy in a room for a week, right? A week straight. He has no access to technology. He's probably gonna fuck the couch at least one point throughout the week, right? With that being said, we know guys are capable of essentially putting their dick in anything. How long do you think it would take for a guy, not a guy in the military, nothing like that, maybe
an average Joe,
crash landed in his backyard? He went over there. He was like, "Oh wow!"
So we're talking about the TTD, time to dick.
Time to dick.
Yeah.
What's the time to dick for an average Joe? Maybe a few bush peaches.
Whoa. I wonder. I guess it would depend on how desperate the man is, or how good looking the alien is.
I don't think looks matter.
Oh bullshit!
Have you seen? Everyone says anything's capable of love, and you and I have seen relationships of people, and you're like, no, you guys are meant for each other, but like at the same time, you're like, shallow how?
I don't know. Like if it's me, if you're having someone stand there like Gamora, or you have someone standing there that looks like the alien from versus Predator, I'm gonna fuck Gamora over the Predator.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We
But
have a kind of you still have to go to by attractiveness. If you're not attracted to it, you can't fuck. Well, that's. I mean, there's some people attracted to some weird shit, so I take it back.
I was gonna say AVP. That's like two mouths though.
Ugh. With
Yeah. One
teeth.
opens up and yeah. Okay.
The little one comes out. That's the Glock 3000 right there.
Oh, you're talking about Alien. I thought you were talking about Predator. Yeah. No. Still, both still have two mouths.
It's like a parasitic jaw. I'm good, bro. I'm good. But if they fucking pop out of here and they look like us, I mean, who knows? Like we've had talks about this on the podcast before that we could be like the UAP or the aliens, like quote unquote time travelers, or we've branched out amongst the galaxies now making return. There's so many theories, dude, or even ones that are like they all are also are like humanoid. Like I've listened to the theories of obviously some creationists. We have many friends that are staunch creationists. Believe that if there is other life, that they were also designed in like our form. I don't agree with necessarily any of them, but regardless, you don't know. This is an I don't know hypothetical question. I would not stick my penis in an alien. I'll tell you that right now.
I probably would.
Okay, it's got to be a badass alien.
No.
No. So you're telling me if this bitch dropped down looking like Gary Busey and has a tail with like 4 tits, you're like, yeah, let's go.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah. No, like think about it like this, right? Why am I blanking on the Star Wars reference?
Star
The
Wars
big
or Star
worm.
Trek?
No, Wars, the big worm looking guy.
The one that's inside the
not Jar
meteor?
Jar. No, the one that was honest. Some goner, you get a few beers in me. I'm the most honest man you'll ever meet. No, fucking, he had Princess Leia as a captive.
Oh, you're talking about Jabba the Hutt.
There's guys out there that fuck belly buttons. Okay, I'm just saying.
How do you think Jabba fucked it? Like she was a prisoner for a while in that dress. Like
Oh yeah, he
Jabba got
definitely
down.
did.
Like it. Like how was she not mentally just absolutely like deranged after being held captive by that man?
Well, I do know he's like a snail alien, right? There are types of snails that shoot their semen.
Ugh.
Yeah, they do that.
Aren't they asexual too?
They can be.
What if that's the next question. What if some species aren't like reproducing like we do? What if they reproduce, asexually or the opposite? Like they're like seahorses. The man carries the baby. Like you fuck a hot alien, but then you're carrying the child.
So you're talking about just completely getting rid of social construct. So yeah. I would imagine.
I mean, it's aliens. Like our whole realm of ideas is out. It's gone.
It's completely based off of social constructs. The fact you and I talk to each other, the idea that we're talking to each other is a social construct, right? Genders are a social construct. Everything, even religion, is a social construct, right? Yeah, I would imagine if aliens didn't have what we define as a social construct, yeah, I could see them. If
it's just a different social
genders.
construct? Like, what if it's not even that? Like, what if it's like you get to a planet and the women's impregnate the males, and then all the males have to give birth like fucking like hyenas through a pseudo penis? Like you're just giving birth through your dick.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like you don't know. Or an alien coming out your stomach, just you have no idea.
So everything that we're talking about right now is definitely based off of movies that we've seen.
Oh, 100%.
Do you think they're like prophets?
Wait, what?
Well, yeah, no, the people that wrote the books that it was based off of.
This isn't Scientology, Connery. Chill out.
No. Like, no, I'm not saying like that, but and the reason why I'm bringing that up is I'm going back to the movie Cell. Everything that we've talked about tonight has essentially got my mindset on the movie Cell, because they're talking about frequencies that are messing with the brain waves that are able to do mind control of a sense, hive mind mentality,
right.
Through these frequencies. Yeah, that's where I went
with Cell. I mean, mine. So like, there's obviously this is a lot. I recommend everyone watching this. It's 4 hours long. The NASA one. The other one's like 2 hours long. So it's some time to get through it. But on the one with Dr. Greer, they talk about how these neutrino devices were able to locate multiple areas of, high intent. Like the areas that they put on a map and they're like, there's a lot of neutrinos here. We don't know a lot about this area. And two of them happen to be in the middle of the fucking ocean at depths that we've been to that depth before, like with the Challenger Deep, but we don't have the funds or the backing to make that kind of a dive to see what's down there. So my idea, you're going to sell. What have you ever seen the movie Abyss?
No.
Oh well, one, you got to watch it. Great movie. So pretty much it's like there's a civilization at the bottom of the ocean, like at pressures that we cannot stand, so we don't come in contact with them. Think like Aquaman in your mind, since you've seen that. They're down there, we don't see them, they're out of sight, out of mind.
Okay.
The only way we can get there is by, we've talked about this before in the podcast too, is by reteaching ourselves to breathe in the idea as being like a baby. A baby breathes liquid when it's in the placenta, right? So like the idea is to rebreathe on oxygenated liquids.
Holy shit!
And
that
then
was
you can get to
that was
that
the
depth.
episode we talked about war babies.
War babies. That's a good episode.
The government went ahead and is just got a secret class of babies that are designed to breathe underwater, and they attack the aliens. That was a tangent episode.
That was a tangent, but the same thing. So we have these neutrino device, and it's able to see that in the middle of the ocean, there's a large frequency from these neutrinos and a high. What's the word I'm fucking looking for? I don't know. There's a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of concentration of these neutrinos in these areas. So like, my thing is they could be here. They could already be here, well beyond our ideas of like, oh, we're now reaching that level of light speed communication. We can't reach light speed, but light speed communication. Now we can see where they're at. What's the next step then? Quick, let's take a drink.
Yeah, let's take a drink. Cheers, buddy. We're 10 minutes in. Oh, our buddy Logan just made it into the chat.
My car and I both breathe the water. No, you don't.
I just responded in an appropriate fashion. I love you, Logan. Don't take that personally.
Did you limp here?
Oh man. Sorry.
I don't think you understand. I literally like Logan, I love you, but like the day your accident happened, I texted Connery saying like, are we allowed to make jokes yet, or is that too soon?
Yeah, no, it was within the first 15 minutes of it happening.
Once we both found out you were okay.
Well, no, he sent me a video. He was like, dude, Logan, he's in the back of an ambulance. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I remember when I had the snowboarding accident, I was high off my kite on fentanyl, prescribed. And I was like,
allegedly,
I was like, I know he's fine. If you're putting a video out there, you're back in the ambulance. Yeah, you probably are pretty fucked up, but you're fine. You're not going to die.
Yeah, I mean, if you're about to die, you're not sitting there like, hold on, let me get my phone out.
Yeah. I was like, so when Paul asked me, he was like, are we allowed to make jokes yet? I already had 20 ready to go. I was right to the races. I sent them all to Paul. I was like, I'm going to wait until Logan's alive.
I can't wait till he's healed a little bit where he can get onto the podcast and explain the situation to the listeners, because that'll be a great one. We're going to have a list.
I've talked to him extensively of it. Apparently, what he thinks happened isn't what happened. What he is being told is from a bystander that explained it to his insurance company. And originally, Logan was thinking, he was like, oh, and I'm paraphrasing here, Logan. I don't even know if you're still in here. But he was I was
wheeled in.
I was wheeled in. Fuck, I love you. He said he had like a patch of gravel, stuck his leg down or something like that. That's what he thought happened. And leg went one way. His motorcycle went the other way. His leg was on the other end of the motorcycle and it just kind of twisted and snapped. Bystander that saw it happen was like, no, you went over the handlebar. I don't know the rest of it after that, so it could be all over the place. But
he knows he went over the handlebars because he's got a fucking bruise on the inside of his thigh that's the size of a fucking softball.
Inch away from his cock.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Luckily, he doesn't have to deal with a lot, so.
What, like, you're talking like the bruise is almost on his hip bone.
Yeah, sure.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I don't know.
Logan, would you fuck an alien? No.
Yeah, let's go back to that. Let's get back to fucking aliens.
What I love is some goner put in here aggressive, dignified sushi. Copy this. He did a candid Connery, a clip by some goner. I love it. I'm gonna end. I've already saved and published that, by the way, buddy. Appreciate it. Talking about me fucking an alien. He was like, "Wow, this is honest."
I mean, we are pretty honest people here. We speak from the heart, man. We
Yeah.
do. Just like we're telling all of you, go out, read up this info, watch the videos. It really is baffling to just hear government officials, scientists, entities coming together and saying like, we've been lying to you for the last 75 years.
Longer than that. Actually, when do you think the government started lying to the public?
1778.
That or that late?
I mean,
That
there's
late?
always my thing is there's always been a point where the government officials are like, we can't come out with this because it'll incite riot or disturb the public, whether it be on social issues, religious issues, so on and so forth, depending on our time frame as a country. I think they've been lying to us for a while now. I do. Whether it's going to war or whatnot, whatever you want to pick, or our currency, or
Yeah,
this
but like,
accident or disaster, or
why 1978? You're saying Jimmy Carter?
No,
Or-
I said 1778. That's 2
Oh,
years after we became a
yeah.
country, you dipshit.
I thought you said 1970. Actually, I'm pretty sure you said 1978. I'm like,
I
Jimmy
didn't.
Carter?
I said 1778.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jimmy Carter, he was just a peanut farmer, dude. He didn't know shit. He was just there. He's like, I'm here to make people happy.
Did you see what was it, JFK Jr.?
He's running for president.
I got to look into him.
It's his grandfather. JFK was his grandfather, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
his
something
father?
like
I don't
that
know.
because he's got photos of him in office with him. I want to look up his policies and
He
stuff like that.
was 8 years old when I think it was his dad. I don't know. He was 8 years old when JFK was sworn in. I remember the hearing.
I can say this: that guy's seen some shit.
Oh, for sure. But if again, I'll put it this: I will not be surprised, not be the least bit surprised, if he ever gets elected to any office, and then he's just
I am not part of this conversation.
it runs in the family. That's all. Well, none of them run in the family, but you know what I mean.
No, you take two spin of the wheels forward, and well, the car's still going forward, but you're not.
Yeah.
Part of you, anyways. It's like,
Regardless, not good. Not a good last name. Kennedy and running for political office. It just hasn't ran well in this country.
I wish I was alive for Kennedy. I feel like he was a very praised
So my dad was a JFK Democrat. A lot of people were back then.
Do you
He's
think your
very
dad and
charismatic.
JFK are up there right now, just smoking a joint together?
Oh no, they're both in hell.
Oh,
They're smoking a joint in hell together, but there's a difference.
fair enough.
I mean, yeah, it's a party down there, man. That's what I'm saying. What imagine you get to the gates, like if they're right, and they're like, all right, we have all the vegans and happy places are up in heaven, and with puppies, you get to do all this fun stuff, running around the fields. They're like, is there sex? No, there's no sex. Is there drugs? No, there is no drugs. Okay, what's hell like? All of those: sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Straight to hell.
Yeah, no,
I'm taking that elevator down. Bye, bitch.
Do you get a choice though? Do you think?
Maybe you get. I mean, no one fucking knows, Connery.
Okay, Paul.
All right.
Let's make a pact right now, blood pact, and then we're gonna end the podcast. Whoever dies first, whoever's at the gate, no matter who it is, because if you kick the devil in the balls, you're staying where you're at. But if you kick God in the balls, you're going back to hell.
Right.
We're kicking whoever greets us at the gate in the balls.
Now let's listen to them first.
You think they're going to talk to you? How many people are coming through that line?
Who knows? Maybe each one's different. Like, have you ever seen The Good Place? It's a great show. Recommend it.
I haven't.
Pretty much it's like there's a greeter for every single person. I mean, it's empathy, right?
So
like you get there,
and
and then they explain it to you. I mean, it's not even like heaven or hell. It's really funny. It's a great show. You should watch it with Kristen Bell in it. But I think that's maybe what it's like. You get there and they're just like explaining what the good place is, what the bad place is, and they're like, so like you want to go to the good place or the bad place?
Have you seen Miracle Workers?
No.
It's with Daniel Radcliffe, Steve Buscemi, and Honestly, those are the two
Oh,
best
I've
actors. in it.
seen clips of that. Yes.
Fucking phenomenal. Now, I say that the first season's the best. I love the first season because it's Steve Buscemi as God, but he's fucking stupid as shit. Kind of fall in love with him. He's like, I'm gonna put you into eternal punishment, and then he's like, I just need you to pick a jelly. Actually, I'm not gonna spoil
I
it.
just need you to pick, bro.
I just need you to pick a
So, but
root
what
beer jelly
happens?
bean.
We get there, and they're like, "All right, your buddy Paul has already picked, but we're not telling you where. We're gonna tell you what we told him, and then you have."
I
to
know you're
decide."
going to hell.
No, okay. I mean, I know that too, but fuck off. All right. What if it's not hell? What if it's just like one place or another? There's not good. There's not evil. That's just like you have A and B to pick, and they
I'd be-
read you. No, listen. They read you a description of each. Do you think you can physically, as you're my friend, sit there and be like, "Oh, he went to B," like you
Yeah,
know, like you
100%.
know? Okay.
Paul, I know you so well mentally, but I also know you physically that I'm like, I could
Giggity.
probably recognize this man from his cock, right? I'm like,
Right.
I know Paul.
You're like, there it is, low and to the left. That's him.
Yep. A lot more pubes. I know he's in a stunt right now where he's waiting in between having sex with somebody. You're rolling
I'm
his
shaking
eyes.
my head. Bro, I'm clean as a whistle. What you talk about, boy? You
How
gotta stay
often do you
ready on
shave?
this game. What I need it like probably like once a week.
Once a week. I'm probably once every 2 months.
Oh God, you're hairier than me, bub. But naturally, you are hairier than me, though.
Yeah,
Like
I
from
gotta,
the neck up, I'm hairier than you, but from the neck down, you got me beat, bub.
bro. Lauren's shaving my back probably once a month.
All right, this is a serious question.
Yeah.
Has she ever waxed you?
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
waxed
not like down there. No.
No?
Wait. No, she
Lauren!
has. There's a lot of blood. I was surprised.
What?
Yeah, you fucking wax your pubes. There's blood.
Oh shit! I've never waxed down there, so I don't know. But I've had the occasional nick where I'm like, huh?
Oh, the fucking ball sack, Nick.
Oh, the worst. That's when I go jump in the shower and just wash it off.
Have you ever gotten the tip of your dick stuck in your zipper?
Never.
I have.
This reminds me of the story when we were in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
you weren't there, but it was a great time. It was me, Tyler, and Grant, like 2 a.m., just chilling in the pool. We're loud, we're being ignorant, lights on, playing, and we're getting to a deep conversation, a drunk discussion, you will, right? Where we're hammered. And all of a sudden, out of left field, like as you would, out of left field, Grant was like, "You ever got a pimple on your dick?" And me and Tyler just start losing it. About 5-6 seconds after we're crying, I hear my neighbor go, "Hey, Paul, it's 2 a.m. Can you keep it down?" And I went under the water. I was screaming. I went under the water screaming with laughter. You know this man heard my friend
conversation
ask me
completely.
if I had a pimple on my dick.
Wait.
Lost it.
Hold up. Have you?
Never. I washed myself, bro. Obviously, Grant, I love him to death, but this is during football season shit. He's a gross, gritty motherfucker.
God, I've had a tick on my dick.
You had a what?
A tick?
Say that again.
A tick.
On your what?
Dick.
Say that 10 times fast.
I've had a tick on my dick.
That's the new T-shirt.
I was at a military camp, like ROTC military style camp.
Yeah.
And we're in the showers and we're all just showering and shit. And I look down, I'm like, what the fuck is that? I was like, is that like a mole? And and it's right around like, you know, that fancy little lip that you have if you're not a Jew.
Oh, what the fuck? You are. They're circumcised too, you dipshit.
Fair enough. Anyways, so it's right around the head, right below the head. Anyways, so I had a tick there. I'm like, how fucking long has that been there? Mind you, this thing was almost the size of like a nickel.
Oh my god, that's a big tick, Connery.
Yeah, I guess they numb the site that they, and I freak out. All the guys, they're like, nah, I'm out.
I would have run out of there. Would have been like, Sergeant.
They left. Everyone left, and I was like, I got a tick on my dick. So I went ahead and I ripped that shit out. I checked.
No, that's how you get Lyme disease, you
The
dipshit.
Incorrect. The head was still there.
Okay.
On it. Dude, I grew up in the fucking country. I know ticks. I was like, I'm still surprised though that it was able to suck that much blood out of
I mean, there's a lot of blood going through you at that age, man. Who knows?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't the only thing engorged.
Yeah, that age you get lightheaded for other reasons.
Oh God.
How the fuck did we go from? Yeah, we're both there.
We went from aliens and spacecraft to fucking aliens and ticks on our dicks.
Ticks on our dicks. All right. Oh wait, some goner. Appreciate your honesty. My brother had a tick on his balls.
See, okay, it's not just you. It's not just you. Some people just want to frolic through the grass naked.
I'll allow that. Cum tick is what he's calling that. Cum tick.
I love how you said, I'll allow that. Ew.
I guess an
That's all-
auto filter popped up on chat. So did you know that if you want to automatically filter comments, you have to actually type out what the comment is? Like if you want the N word to be blocked, you have to type it out.
No, I thought it would just auto do that shit.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll allow it. One bleep doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Anyways.
Discord's a little bit more vague, bub.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for listening to Drunk Discussions podcast. I'm slurring my words. I know
Season
it's gonna be a rough night.
3 premiere.
Yes, it is. For people that aren't, I'm gonna throw out the intro real quick because we do have a few live people here. Fair enough. So we'll throw that out. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to Drunk Discussions podcast. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give us a follow. You can find us wherever podcasts can be found every single Monday. And Paul's going to talk about the merch.
I'm just gonna. I love how you throw it to me. But regardless, guys, go to our sites. Everything's linked to our accounts. Follow, subscribe, buy some, share merch. It helps this podcast grow. There's some cool stuff on there. We're working on some new T-shirts, some hats, some other stuff to add to the merchandise. So buy it up, spend your money. It helps us grow, boys and girls.